I spent my whole life believing that time was an ally, a generous space where I could, someday, finally find myself. How foolish of me. Today, at 80 years old, I open my closet and I don't see clothes. I see costumes of characters I played, just to please a world that never really cared about me. I look at the pressed dresses of the perfect wife, the sober suits of the tireless professional, and the aprons of the hero mom. But where am I? Where is the woman who loved to dance barefoot, or who wanted to travel the world alone? She's gone. And what's left is this deafening emptiness that fills every crack in this house. Regret is a poison we take in small doses over the years, without even noticing, until one day your body locks up and your mind wakes up to the damage. I feel this tightness in my chest, a sadness that doesn't go away with medicine or a grandson's visit on Sunday. It's the realization that I saved the best of myself for a special occasion that the calendar forgot to mark. And you know the cruelest irony of all? I did everything so I wouldn't be alone. And now, loneliness is the only one holding my hand with a firm grip. I've become an inventory of things I stopped being, all while I was smiling for family photos. Sit down with me. I'm telling you this not to scare you, but to warn you that life really is just a breath. When you're 30, you might think that's funny or just sentimental old people talk. But at 80, that truth hits you like a time bomb. Prepare your ears and your heart, because what's coming next is what awaits every single one of us. And the first thing I would tell myself 30 years ago is, stop saving your life for a special occasion. My dear 50-year-old self, if I could shake you right now, I'd say, wear the damn expensive perfume today. Don't wait for the silver anniversary. Don't wait for the grandson's baptism. Don't wait for the day you finally lose weight. I look at my closet now at 80 and I see Egyptian cotton sheets that were never unfolded and fine china that never felt the warmth of a festive dinner. Saving the best for the future is the most silent and lethal regret there is. Because the future, honey, is a master at being a no-show to its own appointments. Every time you put off a pleasure for later, you're creating an emptiness in your present. I spent decades saving moments thinking I was being prudent, but prudence without enjoyment is just a slow way to die. Today, my hands shake too much to hold those crystal glasses I protected so fiercely from the dust. The loneliness of an empty table is so much more sad when you realize you had abundance, but chose scarcity out of a fear of using it up. You know what's left? The stale smell of things kept too long. Life isn't a museum to be preserved. It's a fruit that rots if you don't bite into it while it's ripe. I feel small and drained, looking at relics that have no history because they were never used. Don't make that mistake. Wear out the soles of your shoes, stain the dress with wine, break your heart, and break the porcelain. Because when you get to where I am, the only thing that will keep you warm isn't what you kept in the closet, but the memories of what you spent while living. If I could go back 30 years in time, I'd teach myself the most liberating word in the dictionary: no. I look back and feel a bitter regret for every single time I suppressed my own will just so I wouldn't be seen as the difficult woman or the selfish wife. You're out there right now, running back and forth, solving problems that aren't yours, carrying the world on your back like it's some kind of divine obligation. But listen to me, the world doesn't stop if you sit down to rest. What stops is your heart, your joy, your essence. I spent decades being the good girl, the one who was always available. Today, the emptiness of realizing that people loved my usefulness and not me is a wound that won't heal. When you stop being useful at 80, loneliness shows you who was actually there for you. It's a sad reality to discover that behind so many yeses, I was just buying companionship that in the end was only temporary. I thought I was building love, but I was just paying a high emotional toll. That's why I'm telling you, learn to be selfish now. Because if you don't protect your time and your energy, nobody else will do it for you. Today I see the scars of exhaustion on my soul, and I realize that if I could have set boundaries, I would have arrived here with so much more life left inside me. The problem with being the beam that holds everything up is that when you start to crack, nobody offers to help share the load. They just complain that the house is crooked. And speaking of loads, there might be something you're carrying right now, thinking it's protection, but it's going to become your biggest jailer in the years to come. Oh, my dear, I can almost see you spending hours in front of the mirror, pulling at your skin, counting the lines starting to show around your eyes as if they were death sentences. The regret I feel for being my own cruelest judge is overwhelming. I treated my body like a project to be fixed, a facade that needed constant maintenance, just so the world would keep validating me. But listen to what I have to tell you from the height of my 80 years. Beauty is a currency that depreciates until it turns to dust. And if you base your worth on it, you'll end up with your hands full of nothing but that dust. It's a sad feeling, an empty realization that I didn't cultivate a real friendship with the woman living under this skin. I focused so much on the frame that I forgot about the painting. Today, now that gravity has won and youth is just a memory in yellowed photos, the emptiness of not knowing who I am without that youthful glow haunts me. If I could give you one piece of advice right now, it would be this. Take care of your mind with the same obsession you use on your wrinkles. Study, learn, keep your brain sharp. Find out what makes you vibrate when the lights go out and nobody is watching. Because the loneliness of being an old, invisible woman is only bearable if you are fascinating company for yourself. The world will stop looking at you, that's a fact. And when that day comes, if you don't have a rich, vibrant inner universe, you'll feel like a ghost wandering through your own life. I spent way too much time trying to be desirable and way too little time trying to strengthen my own destiny. And speaking of destiny, you might be ignoring an area of your life that's going to charge a very high price when the silence of the house becomes permanent. Stop believing that your children and your husband are your only safe harbor. I look at my phone now and the emptiness of not having anyone to call and share a silly laugh with about the past is pure torture. You know, I sacrificed dozens of coffee dates with friends, weekend trips, and late-night all-nighters because the family needed me. I thought I was investing in emotional life insurance, but the truth is, children grow up and create their own orbits, and husbands more often than not leave this world before we do. The regret of letting my friendships wither away from a lack of care is one of the most bitter things I carry. It is a specific and very sad kind of loneliness that we feel when we no longer have witnesses from our youth. My children love me, I know that, but they don't know me. They know Mom. They don't know who I was before them. My inside jokes, my rebellious streaks, my deepest desires. If I could go back, I would have protected the space for my friends tooth and nail. It's your girlfriends who hold your hand when the nest is empty and when the left side of the bed goes cold forever. Don't let the role of caregiver erase your identity as a friend. Without your peers, you become nothing more than a historical relic in other people's lives. Someone they visit out of duty, not out of a soul connection. I feel like a satellite orbiting lives that aren't mine, while the women who spoke my language got lost along the way because I didn't have time for them. And that time you think you have plenty of right now. It's slipping through your fingers in the form of useless worries about what other people think. If I could see you right now, I'd rip off that armor of perfection that I bet you wear just to walk down the street. It's a late and painful regret realizing how much energy I wasted trying to be approved by people whose names I can't even remember today. You worry about the neighbor's judgment, the family gossip, what they'll say if you change careers or decide to live a love story that doesn't fit the script. But let me tell you a truth from someone who's 80. People are far too busy dealing with their own failures to genuinely care about yours. This need for validation created a huge hole in my story. I passed up on bold choices because I was afraid I'd look bad. Today, I look at my photos and realize that even though I was perfect, I was sad. The loneliness of living a life that pleases everyone but yourself is the worst kind, because there's no one left to blame but yourself. If I could, I would have been much more rebellious, much more inconvenient, and much less appropriate. At 80, you discover that other people's opinions are like smoke. They look dense, but you wave your hand through them and there's nothing there. What's left is just your conscience and the time you wasted trying to be someone you weren't, while letting the person you actually were fade away. Listen to your inner whisper before it's silenced forever under the weight of the years. And speaking of listening, there's something you're ignoring in your body today, thinking it's just tiredness, but it's going to determine the color of your days when you get here. Look at me now, at this body that complains with every step and has seemingly become hostile territory. The regret of not taking care of my machine while it was still powerful haunts me every time I need help just to open a simple jar of preserves. You, there at 50, think that being healthy just means not being sick. But let me tell you, being healthy is about autonomy. I spent years neglecting exercise, eating whatever was quickest between one kid's task and another, thinking that vitality was an infinite resource. What a sad mistake. Today, my world has shrunk to the size of my living room because the fear of falling and a lack of balance govern my routine. The emptiness of no longer being able to walk on the beach or simply wander through a museum for hours is a punishment I imposed on myself through a lack of discipline. Oh, if I could go back, I would have strengthened my muscles with the same grit I used to build my resume. The loneliness of being trapped at home because your body no longer obeys you is one of the cruelest faces of old age. It's not about aesthetics. It never was. It's about reaching 80 with your freedom of movement guaranteed by strong legs. You're wearing your body out to serve others, but when it fails, you'll be the one, all alone, who has to deal with the consequences. Don't wait for your first fall to understand that your liberty depends on your legs. And know this: while the body loses its strength, the heart runs the risk of hardening, especially with those grudges you insist on keeping tucked away in a drawer. I know there's someone in your life you just can't forgive. I can feel the weight of that grudge right there, vibrating in your chest like an anchor. And I can tell you that the regret I carry at 80 isn't for having forgiven too much, but for holding on to resentment long enough for it to become part of my identity, until I defined myself as a bitter person. Only now do I know that holding a grudge is like drinking poison and waiting for the other person to die in the end. I arrived here with a heavy, bitter soul, while the people who hurt me often don't even remember what they did. It's a sad and somewhat ironic feeling to realize that as we age, we start to forget names, dates, and faces. But the pain of an old offense seems tattooed onto what's left of our consciousness. So I'm telling you, if I could go back, I would have let go of that burden much sooner. Not because the other person deserved forgiveness, but because I deserved the lightness. The loneliness of an old woman is already heavy enough without carrying the ghosts of fights from 20 years ago. The emptiness that remains after a life of feeding resentment is impossible to fill. Forgiveness is the soul's spring cleaning. If you don't clean out your basement now, you'll reach old age suffocated by the dust of the past. I see women my age who are radiant, and their secret isn't some expensive cream. It's the fact that they don't keep emotional clutter. They decided that the time they have left is too valuable to be spent on those who don't deserve it. And speaking of valuable time, look closely. Aren't you wasting yours right now, trying to control the future of people who should already be flying on their own? I see your anguish, your desperate desire to stop your children from making the same mistakes you did. But listen to what the regret of an 80-year-old mother has to say. The more you try to control their lives, the deeper you dig the emptiness that will separate you in the future. I spent years trying to be their compass, their map, and their emergency brake. The result? Today, they hide things from me, not out of malice, but to avoid my judgment or my interference. It's a bitter loneliness to be at the end of your life and feel like your children love you out of duty, but don't seek you out for pleasure because you never learned how to be just a safe harbor. You always wanted to be the captain. It's sad to realize that by trying to protect them from the world, I ended up creating a barrier between us. If I could go back to my 50s, I'd tell myself, let them fall. Let them fail. Be there for the hug and the bandage, but stop trying to live their lives for them. The emptiness of a house that doesn't get spontaneous visits is the price you pay for being a mother who is too controlling. The loneliness of old age is much more bearable when your children feel that you are an ally, not a watchdog. Learn to be a spectator. When you let go of control, you gain trust. I wish I had spent more time listening to who they actually were instead of giving lectures on who I wanted them to be. Now our conversations are about medicine and the weather, because the deep subjects were silenced by my old need for dominance. And don't fool yourself. This control you exercise over them is actually just fear. A fear disguised as care, hiding the fact that you aren't facing your own financial life and the security of your own tomorrow. Stop believing in the romantic illusion that those who care will be cared for. The most practical and cold regret I feel today is having delegated the management of my financial future to others, whether it was my husband or the expectation of help from my children. I see you there at 50, giving up on investments or your own career to help the family, thinking their gratitude will be your safety net and your retirement. Don't be naive. Gratitude is a volatile feeling, but the bills from the pharmacy and the health insurance are relentless. It's a sad and humiliating feeling to have to ask your own child for money to buy a little treat or a new outfit. The emptiness of not having control over your own choices is what truly makes you old. When you're financially dependent on someone at 80, you lose the right to say no. You become an administrative burden, a cost on a spreadsheet that your heirs discuss in the kitchen while you pretend you can't hear them. If I could go back, I would have been much more fierce in protecting my assets and my autonomy. The loneliness of being poor in old age is a sentence of absolute invisibility. Money doesn't buy happiness, I know that, but it buys the silence of those who want to control you and the freedom to choose who will change your diapers if it ever comes to that. Don't give up your bank account in the name of an altruism that nobody even asked for. Be the master of your own economic destiny, because dignity often lives in the ability to pay your own bills without having to bow your head to anyone. And speaking of dignity, there is one last secret, the hardest one of all, about what happens to your mind when the noise of the world finally goes silent. We've reached the end of my list, but the beginning of your greatest challenge. If I could see you right now, I'd say, stop running away from the silence. I see you with the TV always on, the radio playing in the background, or your phone in your hand, desperately trying to fill every second with the noise of others. The regret I feel is having spent decades running away from myself, thinking that noise was a sign of a full life. What a mistake. The noise was just an anesthetic to keep me from facing the emptiness I felt whenever the lights went out. At 80, the external noise stops. Friends leave, children grow quiet, and the world outside becomes a silent film that you're no longer a part of. If you haven't learned to be your own best friend, the loneliness of this stage won't just be a state of being. It will be torture. It's sad to see so many women my age panic when they're alone because they never cultivated an inner life. They don't have thoughts of their own, only echoes of what they've heard their entire lives. If I could, I would have meditated more, read more, written more. I would have learned to enjoy my own company so much more. Today, I spend hours just watching the birds or feeling the warmth of the sun on my skin. And the loneliness only hurts when I realize it took me 70 years to discover that I am an interesting person, Don't wait until you have no one left to discover who you are. Silence isn't the absence of life. It's the stage where your soul can finally speak without being interrupted. And now that I've said everything I needed to say, there's just one last thing you need to hear before we close this inventory of shadows. So, here we are at the end of this inventory of shadows. I've opened my heart and poured out the regret that consumes me today, but I did it for a reason. I'm still here, and so are you. The difference is that you still have the one thing I want most, but can no longer buy. So, time. I've shown you the emptiness of a life lived for others and the loneliness of someone who forgot herself. But these harsh truths don't have to be your destiny. They can be your escape map. Now, I ask you, how much longer are you going to keep saving your best feelings and your best clothes for a future that no one has guaranteed you? What are you waiting for to say that no that's been stuck in your throat for years? Are you really going to wait until you're 80 with a tired body and a mind full of ghosts to realize that the only person who could have saved you was yourself? Don't just be another sad woman who looks back and sees nothing but a trail of useless sacrifices. Change your course today. Start investing in your independence, your health, and most importantly, your soul. Be the protagonist of your own story, not just a luxury extra in the lives of your children or your husband. The world isn't going to hand you this space as a gift. You have to take it with your own two hands. Selfish. Call it whatever you want. I call it self-protection. So, what are you going to do differently tomorrow? Which of these 10 truths hurt you the most? Because that's exactly the one you need to face right now. Leave your comment below. Let's talk, because loneliness fades when we share our pain and our courage. If this story touched your soul and woke you up to what really matters, subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications. Don't let the routine make you forget who you were born to be. Keep following the unspoken words so that your future is made of vibrant memories and not of shadows of who you stopped being.